Chris, you had said earlier this year playing alongside Coulter, it was like seeing things through your kid's eyes, as a rookie. What's it like for Grey Cup week, being able to kind of line up against a rookie or line up beside a rookie?
Oh, it's pretty special. I mean, to have a guy that's just come into the league and have the opportunity in his first year to be out there and playing at a great level, I'm excited for him.
And just that, the offensive line, obviously there's been a lot of changes, guys coming in and out with injuries, but this seems like kind of the strongest you've been with the guys you have. But just talk about that next man up mentality that you've played, I think, 10 different lineups with that offensive line, but you guys don't seem to have missed a beat.
Yeah, I think I just stopped counting about halfway through the season, but and that's football. People get hurt. The next guy's got to be ready to go, and we pride ourselves on preparation here and being able to move guys in and out of the lineup. And I'd say for the most part they've done an exemplary job, just kind of filling in where they needed to, and yeah.
Chris, hi. You've been around a long time. The
People keep
offense,
on saying that.
Sorry?
People keep on saying that.
I can say it because I've been around longer. But offense in the CFL has really taken a hit this year, and maybe even before you took the year off. What do you think has happened with offense in this league?
That's probably a pretty complicated answer, but I mean, the simple answer would be that it takes a lot longer for an offense to gel than it does for a defense. I mean, defense, you're just flying off the ball. You have gap responsibilities. You have coverage responsibilities. Offense, you have a series of people moving around and timing and depth and so many different things to take into account. I mean, for offenses to roll, it takes a little bit longer, and you see that every preseason. You come into camp and it takes a lot longer. It usually takes, usually you start getting into a rhythm around the second week or third week, but even into the regular season, I mean, when you start seeing new defenses, then you have to adjust and make adjustments. And I think that's probably, I mean, with a year and a half off, essentially, you got a little bit of a lag, and I mean, that could be the reason. I'm not saying that it is, but that's probably my best guess.
Chris, I'm not going to pile on with the number of years you've been in the league.
Yeah, thanks.
But how is playing in the big game, playing in the spotlight that's going to be there on Sunday, how has that changed since you came into the league?
I think as opposed to looking kind of at my own situation, I've looked at everybody else's. When you're in it for the first time, you're kind of in that moment for yourself. I believe now more so than ever, I'm in it for the rest of the guys, especially, I mean, being here. I mean, in Toronto we won 2 there. Coming here, there's been a little bit of a drought, and I know guys have been on this team for a long time. They've been playing at an extremely high level, and they just haven't been able to get to that spot. So, I mean, I look around the locker room at some of the guys, and I'm in this for them.
So, Chris, you're old. I think that's what everyone's trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jared was in here the other day, and he just said he found that in 2019, a lot of the guys got caught up in it all, in the hoopla and the allure of the Grey Cup and what it was, and kind of made it more difficult to focus on the task at hand. What do you find different just around that group, the guys that you just talked about that you're playing for? What's different about the mindset coming into throughout this week in 2021 compared to 2019?
It's everything. It's the whole culture in this locker room. I mean, in the past it was, oh yeah, we're in the Grey Cup. We have this record. We've beat this team twice. Let's go get them again. And that was kind of the mindset. This is just another game. It's not just another game. Everything's escalated. The passion, the fans, everything. Like it's a different game, and it's a different beast, and you can't treat it like just another game. You have to understand how things are going to be heightened. There's a lot more at stake, and people are playing for their livelihoods and whatnot in the off season as well. Like it's a huge game, and I think if you treat it anything but that, and don't put everything into it, you're doing a disservice, and you get what happened in 19.
you know what it takes to have a long career. You know what it takes to, the sacrifices, the inevitable.
You're saying I'm old?
Well, I'm in a way, but but I'm, it's a compliment, I guess, in the sense that the ups and downs, the inevitable ones.
Yeah.
You were in Toronto when Zach Clarce showed up,
Yep.
as a rookie. His career has gone up and gone way down, and now it's at its height. And I'm just wondering if you could kind of comment about his journey, and maybe if you remember him coming into Toronto and just what you make of his, where he is now.
I mean, you look at Zach, and I think a lot of it speaks for itself. I mean, his style of play is very much like his personality. He's a gunslinger, and he moves around. When he's in trouble, he moves, and he's able to throw the ball deep. He's able to do pretty much whatever a quarterback can do. I mean, he'll sidearm it. He'll get around defenders, and he does a lot. And when you watch him play, it's like watching a kid out in the yard just kind of throwing the ball around. But that's the kind of person he is. He's a great guy, but on Sunday he's the enemy. So that's about all I can come. Two more.
I don't want to. I'm afraid to say it now. With your experience, here we go. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
But Chris, seriously though, being a Canadian, you've been around a little while, and you've watched the Canadian athletes change. What has impressed you the most about Canada's improvement in the Canadian Football League?
I think the coaching, and I mean, I look at my own situation when I came in the league. I was a defensive lineman that got converted to offensive line. I had never played offensive line before, although I had kind of the body type to do so. I mean, you see body types coming in now that are game ready. Like, they're able to be put into situations and play football right away. And I think that's in large part due to the coaching. The bigger the CFL game gets, the better the coaching in the youth sports, and the better the players moving down. And it trickles down, right? So it starts youth sports, and it goes down to high schools and junior programs and whatnot. And I mean, you start to see more guys moving down south, getting into NCAA programs, and from the NCAA programs, they may come back here, they may stick in the NFL. You get all sorts of different talent from all over the place, but that all starts with the strength of the CFL, I think. Thank you.
Any last question? Oh, okay.
Hey, Chris, I know you won the most outstanding offensive lineman the last time around. You know the guys pretty well that are going up this time. You also went against Stanley Bryant the last time. I was just wondering if you wouldn't mind commenting a bit on Stanley's kind of legacy as an O-lineman in this league, because obviously he's been right there at the top for the last few years.
Yeah, he's a great offensive lineman. I mean, if you're a young guy just coming into the league, or a guy that's been around, you study greatness, and I think he's right there in that conversation. So, yeah, I think that's about all I can say about that, unfortunately. But hey, he's a great player.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, everybody.
Questions for Dylan? Go ahead, Louis.
Dylan, I just did the math. It was 151 days since July 11th, which is when you guys were on here for day one of training camp. How have you changed as a player in those 151 days?
I think personally I've grown hugely, and that's a hat tap to my coach and, the guys that I'm surrounded with every day. Just my focus, my preparation, technique-wise, night and day. Something we talk about is, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse, and I feel like my game definitely took a good step forward this season, and that's crazy how many days, because that's nice, because every single one of those days I think I improved a little bit.
There's a lot of rookies on this defense. first-year guys, linebacker crew, backup guys. What does it mean to see kind of them go through this Grey Cup experience for the first time, with you having done it a couple times now?
Well, it's great. It's a new experience for them, but really it's not. We focus and we want everything to be as normal as possible, and that's, I feel like, a key to playing good ball in this big of a stage. Our guys are ready for the situation, especially the young guys. They know it's not too big, not too small. We talk about just doing your 1/12th, and I'm excited for them to see, what it's all about, because nothing really matters until that first snap. So, appreciate it.
Dylan, I was just asking Chris about Canadians and how they've improved. You're one of the ones that history has helped. What do you think has made it easier for Canadians like you to come more prepared?
Well, as an American, that's really funny though. I get that a lot. I think, a lot of this league thinks I'm Canadian, and I enjoy that, and I think it's wonderful. I think at one point TSN put me at top 10 Canadians in the league, but no, I'm American. Born in Texas, raised in California. I bleed red, white, and blue. So. But the Canadian talent here is definitely, that's the key to getting into this game, is solid, strong Canadian talent, and that's something we talk about as ratio busters. Guys that it doesn't matter what nationality they are, they're high-producing players. And I think if you look on their roster, on our roster, we both have that kind of deep talent, and that's what really gets you to this big stage. Appreciate it.
Dylan, I know you don't go up against the Bombers' defensive line, obviously, but, it's, in terms of the elite D-lines in this league, it's probably you guys and them. Are you guys competitive with them?
That's a good question. Yes, we're competitive because we like to, tier yourself up against other defenses, but that's, I would say that's a macro view, a big view of it, When we do go down to the nitty-gritty and what we're working on, the specifics, it's about us, and it's about what we can improve each day and, the little steps forward. But, at a postseason after this game, when I break down and, look at what we did well, what we didn't, and I really do break down these other defenses, Winnipeg's always been high-tier defense because they're well-coached and they work well together, and it's a lot of fun to be able to showcase elite D-line play at this level, and especially when we finally get the spotlight on us as big guys, because, we typically don't in the trenches.
Can I then just ask, what makes their D-line so imposing, as someone who understands D-line play a lot better than I do?
I would say chemistry. They work well together, and our D-line works well together too. I think that is a underrated thing in defensive line play, is you can have amazing athletes, you can have game breakers and stuff like that, but D-line play is a lot like a wolf pack. You got to work as a whole group, or it's really hard to get a quarterback down on your own.
Dylan, one of the main guys of this wolf pack for years now, regardless of citizenship, has been Ted, Big Ted. What has he meant to that group up front?
Ted's for sure, he's an all-decade player. Ted is an unselfish, amazing man. On and off the field, he's one of my best friends. And he gets our, whoever's up next, we always talk about, prepping the guys that come before us and stuff. And you don't see that always in professional ball. Sometimes in professional ball, you find a lot of older guys, will try to preserve their own status by keeping to themselves. And Ted is an unselfish person. That's how we run our entire room. I've taken a lot of my game and a lot of my development as a professional from Ted in that example that, he got us. And I'm lucky enough to, be next to somebody of that kind of caliber when we play. And Ted is big time. Like I said, he's an all-decade player. He can't, he's amazing, and he plays his heart out, and he's a good guy.
So, hey, Joe. Speaking of that, prepping next guy up, if it's Autry in there, what can you tell us about him?
Well, Autry's had snaps. We've cycled in and out. Even in normal plays, I don't play the whole game. Ted doesn't play the whole game, and Autry's ready. Autry's a nice big body, and he's an athletic big guy, and he's more than ready for this situation and this stage. And frankly, he expected to play during this game anyway. That was something that we had talked about coming in, and whatever capacity he gets in, if he's playing one snap, if he's playing every snap, who knows what's going to happen when roster shakes down. He'll rise to the situation. Appreciate it.
Dylan, when it comes to facing the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the point of attack and their run game in particular, obviously, over the last couple of weeks, it's been a question of whether Andrew Harris could play or not. As somebody right there in the mix of all of that, do you more have to focus on what they're doing at the offensive line more so than who's actually carrying the ball?
Oh, as a defensive line, if you're worried about who's carrying the ball, you're not doing your job right. My job isn't, tracking a running back. My job's beating the guy in front of me and winning my spot in the trench. So I would just have to say, as a defender, it doesn't matter. You could put my mom back there and hand her the ball. I'm still going to do my job, and I'm still going to focus on me. So, no, it doesn't really matter for us who's in the backfield. Obviously, different running backs have different tendencies, and yeah, there's fine fixtures that go into that. But as far as, my game plan and my play, doesn't matter.
I'm trying to ask what that offensive line does well.
It's a premier offensive line in this league. They're big, they're strong, and they pride themselves in being physical. And, it's to counter that, you just be physical back. And that's the type of game that we're expecting coming into here, and it'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully some people look at the line play instead of just the wide receivers the whole time.
Is your dad coming in?
Yeah, my dad's in.
And you have to do anything to keep him calm between now and
I let my dad go. My dad can do whatever he wants. I'll tell you what, we get allotted tickets to give family and stuff, and my dad buys his own ticket just to make sure he sits where he wants to sit, and he's a grown man, he can do what he wants. I'm sure the stadium will be loud enough that we won't hear him, but he'll try his best. So. Oh, yeah?
I don't know if he told you the story.
That doesn't surprise me. My dad is. Oh, my dad was yelling too loud at a stadium. I didn't know yelling too loud in a stadium was a problem. That might just be something different at that stadium. In our stadium, we prefer to yell loud. Just, differences, I guess.
Great, thanks a lot.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a great one.
Coach O's next. Questions for Coach O? Go ahead, Dan.
Coach, we didn't see Ted Lorna out there at practice today. Can you tell us anything about what's going on with him?
Yeah, Ted, obviously, he did not practice. He's out with an illness for the second straight day. So that's the news.
Not COVID?
I'm sorry?
Not COVID?
No.
No. Is he still an option for Sunday?
I'm totally waiting on the reports. I mean, we're going to exhaust anything we can to let Teddy play. We'll also be prepared if he doesn't.
You've made it clear that the 2021 Ticats are not the 2019 Ticats. So who are the 2021 Hamilton Tiger Cats?
That's 20 minutes, Louis. We're our own identity. It's that you don't have to put a label on something, I don't think, to describe yourself, right? Sometimes you are what you are. Sometimes you got to be a kite in the wind. Sometimes your identity changes. from week to week. I think we're a football team that'll do whatever it takes to win that week, right? So we're we're an explosive offense, we're a shutdown defense, we're a big play special teams. That was easily to define that in 19, right? You can just say in 3 phases you were dominant in that. That's not this year's team, right? So, I think we're going to win in different ways, and we found a way to win games that were, quote unquote, in elimination fashion or must-win games. We found a way to win those along the way up to the Grey Cup.
And we've heard a lot this season that the only thing guaranteed is adversity.
Can't fool you.
What does that mean to you?
That's what's guaranteed in life and football, 100%. It is. So we can try to act like we can avoid all of it, or you can build an environment / culture that encourages people to worry more about the adversity response than trying to avoid adversity. It's going to happen. So that's what it means to me, is preparing these men for what's inevitable and giving them tools. And then obviously what you say is one thing, but it's what you embody, right? So it's a credit to, the whole staff. It's a buy-in thing. It's an environment that you create. So that's what I mean by adversity. It's more about the adversity response.
Coach O, is there anything from the time that you come through the tunnel till the national anthem ends that you do, a checklist of some sort that you think about, that you want to remind yourself once the game starts?
No, I don't have, I don't have a set routine like that. I don't have like a cookie cutter model or mold, which was evident because our equipment guy had to get the challenge flag for me one time. So I don't have a checklist. I don't have a list of things that I say to the football team. I'm always going to speak from the heart. And, the sideline is the sideline.
A follow-up. So that's your quiet time to sort of take a breath and get ready for the game to start then?
If that's how you would describe it, I just jog out of the tunnel, try not to fall, and, just be me. Like there's no show, there's no routine. You just, I guess I do. I'm always gonna give my coaches 5 and give them a hug. I guess that's something that I've always done. Thank you.
Coach, what do you guys got to do to slow down Andrew Harris?
You want the game plan?
As much as you can tell, I guess.
I don't know if a football team wants to run the ball, i.e. Montreal, if they're going to give a person 20 carries, you're not going to stop them. Right? You have to contain them. It's when do they get their runs? Is it at crucial times? Are they grinding the clock out? Is it consecutive? So if they want to commit to the run, they're going to get yards. You're not going to hold anybody. If you're giving, if somebody has 20 carries, you're not likely to hold them to 50 yards. So that's where stats are misleading. Oh, well, 100 yards to 200. Well, how many carries? What else? How was the game set up? There's a lot of other factors that go into it. So I would say that if you don't stop the run, it's hard to stop the pass because you don't need to pass, right? So, we'll have our game plan. They'll have theirs. They've done it very effectively all year, and there's no doubt we'll have our hands full.
Hey, Orlando. Van
Hey,
Zyl.
Arash.
Van Zyl was in here earlier, and he was actually honest, which was nice and refreshing. He said, this isn't just any other game. This is a bigger game. Guys' livelihoods, futures, salaries down the road, all that stuff. And he said, if you just don't look at it that way, you're doing it a disservice to everybody around here because there's a lot on the line. What have you noticed different from your group this year leading into the championship game compared to 2019?
Well, I think in 19 we had quite a few more leaders, people that were kind of here from the onset, like 2013, Arash, that had a different approach, right? I think they were a little more calm and cool. We have, I would say, we're nearing half of our roster is different from that 2019 team. So the point I'm making here is you've got a lot more followers in this locker room, and they're looking towards the leaders, and those leaders that were part of the 19 loss have approached it, and their leadership style is just very easy to follow. And it doesn't always mean that you stand up and say something. Like I said, most of the time, when you're a quote unquote leader, I mean, you have to embody those things. Leadership to me is daily. It's not a weekend clinic. It's not a sign on the wall. So I would say that this team would maybe. The younger guys are just more attentive, more focused, just because our team is different. So, but other than that, we've kept a lot of the things the same, to be honest with you. When you have something that you think is sustainable, you don't waver from it. But if you stay the same, obviously you'll rust. So we're not afraid to put wrinkles in there. But that's what I've noticed. The younger guys are all ears when it comes to the people that have been there before.
Hi, Coach.
How you doing?
Good, thanks. What do you say to those that say your football club would have to play a perfect game on Sunday to win?
I'd say everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I'm not even saying that they're wrong. I'm just saying that, football games are interesting. The ball's not round. It doesn't always go where you want it to go. It's always a game of execution. And, I would, in the most respectful way, I would really drown it out, because to me, that's being unfocused. That's listening to what has nothing to do with the game, right? But this is a sports entertainment business, and you're going to get those kind of questions the bigger the stage, right? They've earned those type of questions, right? There's no doubt. They're the best football team in the regular season, and the talk and the build-up is fun. I enjoy it. The players have earned this stage, but that's why you play the game. So there's a test at the end of every week in football, and so we're looking forward to the test.
Anyone else? Great, thanks a lot, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you, guys and ladies.